Welcome to Conversations. I'm your host, Anthony E Thompson II. Today we have an exciting guest, Ken Walker of K Collections. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good.
Great, great.
Can't complain.
We just want to say, we want to celebrate you today and say happy birthday.
Thank you.
You hit a great milestone. How does it feel? You hit 30, man.
Like 30 feels good.
30 feels good.
It looks good on me. That's what I said.
Yeah. So tell us, how did you celebrate your birthday?
My birthday was crazy. I had a brunch with 30 of my closest friends. So I had like an invite-only brunch at Ivy Kitchen and Cocktails in Detroit. It's a new black-owned restaurant.
Oh.
Really good food. So yeah, I celebrated with them on that Saturday, and then Sunday was my actual birthday, and I went to Miami. But I had a brunch that the city of Detroit and Foot Locker put together. I was a part of this campaign called Now and Next, and I actually got an award for that, but also a Spirit of Detroit award for being a part of the program.
That's beautiful, because I saw you flexing on the gram. So I had to ask. It looked like you had a good time.
That was a good way to bring it in. It was definitely a blessing for sure.
Great, great. So what we want to talk about today, just getting going, we want to talk about your fashion career. But I know that you've done some things outside of fashion, like dealing in the marketing world.
Yep.
So like, give us some information on how it got going. Like you can slide, talking about your marketing background, slide into the fashion.
Yeah, so I've been working in marketing for almost 10 years now. I went to Michigan State for college.
Yes, go green.
Go white. And one of the best advertising programs out there in the country. But upon getting into the marketing program, I knew I wanted to have my own clothing brand like one day. And when I got into taking these classes, I was like, maybe I'll get a job as a marketing manager for like one of these big brands. And I took a trip to Italy. Michigan State has probably one of the best study abroad programs, and I got to go to Italy for 6 weeks, my first time out of the country, and it was a marketing and sales communication type of deal. And I had actually took a course about Italian communication. And one specifically, we had like speakers coming from like Ferragamo, show how the shoes are made by hand. We went to the Gucci Museum, and I was just like, "This is like
I don't
the
know
world."
if I would have left. But
man, it was a dream. it was crazy. And I had came back, and I was like, I have to start a brand one day. And I had the name of my brand I had since I was 14. I wrote in this notebook, K Walker Apparel is what I wrote. And I had it wrote out in a notebook. I'm gonna make this brand one day. And then I came back. Me and one of my friends, we initially tried to start a brand together, and I eventually, stayed on my own, and I made my ideas, and wrote them all out. And taking these advertising classes, what I was doing was, how can I apply this to my brand? If I had a brand, how would I advertise it to my customer? And fast forward to me working in the industry.
Hold on, before you go there,
Yeah.
you said something really interesting.
Yeah.
You said my friend and I. So, and this was in college. Okay, so back then, did you all work out like any agreements? Like it was because it still was off of your name. So did y'all have a different name?
Yeah, we had a whole nother brand.
What was the name of that brand, man, if you want to say it?
Yeah, Ken and Mark.
Okay.
His name is Mark. Still my best friend.
Okay.
We literally had an idea. We sat down, and he was just like, that's dope. Yeah, we should. He said, if I could help, let me know. And in the midst of our conversations, he had a strong interest to go into fashion too. And we concept a few ideas. And it just fizzled.
So it was a mutual fizzle.
Yeah, but it was like literally like a separate brand from what I was building.
Okay, I was making sure it wasn't that brand. I'm whoa.
No,
okay.
K Walker has always been me. But yeah, we had just creative differences. We was young too, and but when I graduated college and I had that notebook, I was like, I'm gonna do something with this when the time is right. And I remember sitting in my dorm right before graduation. I was like, applying for jobs, and I got my first job in advertising right here in downtown Detroit. Got to work on like renowned brands, Cadillac, Harley Davidson, Travelocity, even District Detroit before the arena was built. And then I just kind of had that moment working in corporate America. You know what I mean? I'm giving a lot of myself to the company. I'm serving them for years, and at this point, my entrepreneurial endeavors just started, that spirit just kind of bleeded out, and especially with, how that's thrived in the city. I
Okay.
saw so many friends doing it themselves, stepping
And
out
so
on
what
faith.
did you do? Did you like just say, all right, I'm about to just start selling product right away? Or
Nah.
did you start building out a plan? Like how did it go?
It was more like a plan, but I didn't know where to start, because I didn't draw. I had a vision, and that's really what it was. And initially I was like, well, how can I be more competent is what I kept telling myself. And I was like, do I need to go to fashion school? So I applied to FITM in LA, where they shoot Project Runway. And literally I remember I went out there for the open house in November of 2017.
Okay.
And got into the school.
That's a big year too for fashion. Yeah.
Huge year.
Huge
year.
Yeah,
it was.
That's a big year for fashion.
It was,
Yeah.
But I went out there. I remember talking to the advisor, and I was like, I want to, I want to have my own brand. I kind of let her know my vision and apply. A part of getting in the program, you have to do a project, and they have like an apparel management program, and it really challenged me to think about, well, what is your brand? What does it stand for? Who's your target consumer? How are you going to market it? What are your collections going to look like? In the midst of that project, that became my business plan.
Wow.
And I ended up not going to the school. I was like, I don't need to go to this school to do this. Like, I work in marketing. Like,
That's
I know how to reach.
That's something I struggle with too, because my undergrad was in business, so I wrote my own business plans. I pulled my brands together and all that. And so a lot of times people are like, oh, you should go get your MBA. I'm like, well, we kind of learned all that stuff in undergrad.
You do.
Only thing I can see myself doing is law school at this point.
You do.
So.
And when you get in those degrees, it's to get a job. You know? And for me, I was trying to build a business. I was the entrepreneur. You know what I mean? So I wanted it to benefit me. I didn't want it to use it to get a job at Tom Ford. I wanted it to build K Walker. So
and I think it's good to do both.
It is.
Like I think it's good to go get that experience working with a company, and then you apply some of that to your own brand, or simultaneously as you building it. So I mean, I don't knock either lifestyle.
And it helps you, obviously, with investors too.
Yeah.
Because you got to get experiences that were rewarding. I think the beauty in me working in marketing is that I know my consumer. I know how to market to them. And that kind of fuels the way my business is structured, how my collections are done. So that expertise, especially these aren't like small brands, like Cadillac, all these bigger brands, like I know what it's like to look at a global brand and the insights and how to invest in the right marketing to reach the audiences. So that was literally how it sparked. And then I remember, luckily I worked at an agency with creatives, so I started talking to them about my brand. And we had a girl, she was a graphic designer. I was like, hey, I got this idea. Like, I want this backwards K as my logo. Here's the idea I got. But when I was doing that project for the school, I had the name K Walker Attire at this point. It was apparel when I was 14, when I was a college attire.
You kept graduating.
Yeah, and then collective came from when I talked about the brand. And I was thinking of, there's no black male lifestyle clothing brand. I can't name one,
Well, Carl and I probably wish they had that backwards K.
Yeah, that's what a few people told me. A few people, when they saw it, they said, but I had like an idea of just making a brand that showed black men, in a positive light, looking polished, looking clean, but also something that was just really authentic. So the sense of brotherhood was really important to me. And, inclusivity is really something that you don't see a lot in fashion.
Are you in a fraternity?
Nah.
Okay.
Nope.
Just asking.
Yeah.
Where the K look. Okay.
Oh, like the Kappas?
Hey, I just had to ask.
But no, we had me and her talked about, concepts, visually how the logo and the brand identity would be. And that was the beauty of working in marketing. So I knew what I wanted, what would work. And a brand mark is really how a lot of luxury fashion brands have stayed relevant. And they've kept that same brand mark for years. So I was like, well, what's my LV? What's my Chanel C's? Like, I was like, it's going to be a backwards K with a period, and that's going to be the brand mark. And, so we talked about that, and that became my logo. And building the brand identity, I started out like, all right, I got to build a collection now. So it just kind of
Let's talk more about your collection and your clothing.
Yeah.
I want to hear more about the actual clothing, how you source the fabric and things of that nature.
Yeah, so initially when I started, knowing that I was making it collective, and that was really speaking to street comfort and refined looks. I was like, I wanted a brand that encompassed more than one look.
Say that again.
Street comfort and refined looks.
That's good.
And it stuck with me for a while, because when I was building that project to get into school, they was like, what type of clothes would you make? And at first I was like, oh, Ralph Lauren, he got purple label? What if I do like a blue label, red label, black label? And then when I did those labels, it was like a different style of clothing. So it was like athleisure, it was more like your comfort wear, more your street wear than your refined clothes. So that evolved. I was like, wait, it's collective. And I always wanted my brand to be Co. I was like, oh, K Walker Co. It could be short for collective. But I had essentially, when I started building the first collection, I was like, you know, I don't want to make just a themed collection. I kind of just want to show people a range. Kind of just want to go crazy, which helps you if you don't know how to design. You're trying to come into it. You're trying to just like get your feet wet. But I didn't have like any support. Like I didn't have, you know, somebody sketching for me or anything. But I just kind of went to the board. I was like, all right, well, what do I like? You know, what would I wear? What would my friends wear? And I looked at, you know, what was trending was athleisure. You know, and that has become a standard now. It's not even a trend anymore. But I looked at a lot of inspiration at fashion shows, and you know, the whole manufacturing process within itself. I'm just now getting a good grasp on it, but still, 3 years later, it's still hard. It ain't easy.
Joke. Manufacturing. Ooh, Lord.
Yeah,
it's a beast.
And you gotta know what you want. You know what I mean?
Because you can lose a lot of money fast.
You sure can. You know, because they will take advantage of that. You know, and the language barriers are there as well. Of course, I've always prided myself on making like American-made products, but me starting off, like I don't have the investment to invest in making it all here. You cut a lot of costs getting it made overseas. But what I would do is I would reach out to just manufacturers I would find online and say like, hey, I'm trying to make this tracksuit, can you make this tracksuit and it's black and white? I got this idea for a coach jacket. I want to do it. I want to put this badge on it, put it here. So I would mock stuff up on my computer. You know what I mean? I would take like a blank and say, here's how I want my logo to look on it, or here's a cut and sew piece. I like velour, but could you make it in blue? I want to make this, this K on. I want to put it in a corner here. So I literally, I wanted to show a range. So that first collection was like 12 pieces.
And then that first collection, you said it was 12 pieces.
Yeah.
How did you display that? Did you do like a fashion show? Did you do like a lookbook?
Oh, we went crazy.
Tell me what you do.
Man, I spent a lot of money, but I did a big fashion show, and I literally. I first started when I curated the collection. I was like, okay, I want to do a video shoot. So Darian Pope is like one of my favorite videographers in Detroit. I've been working with him since I got started, and we actually went to high school together at DSA. And he shot me behind the scenes.
DSA done produced a lot of talent.
Oh yeah,
I gotta
sure.
give y'all props.
For sure. I mean, if you look, a lot of the creators in the city now like thriving. They went to DSA. But yeah, I had talked to him, months prior to launching, and I had like a Pinterest board. I was like, I'm trying to launch this brand. Here's like what I'm going for, and I want to show black men, that are in this positive light. And I want to just show us looking good and just kind of exuding like confidence. And my brand platform is Tailor Your True Self, so I really go about, how we're always progressing, always trying to be better. And black men, I think that's the perfect audience to speak to. You know what I mean? We're always overcoming a lot and we're persevering, so I wanted to exude that in any video content. So we talked about like concepts, and Amber Lewis, my cousin, she's the director of social media for the city of Detroit too.
That's a good connection.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and me and her talked, and she directed the video. But when I was talking, I was like, I got a concept, I got an idea, but I identified all the models, and I handpicked them, and I made them in a presentation. I was like, he gonna wear this, he gonna wear this, and we curated, this amazing launch video, and I used Migos Walk It Talk It, which is one of my favorite songs at the time.
I do wonder too, I saw that you had this campaign going, dealing with cancer.
Yeah.
Speak to that, because I just thought that was amazing.
Yeah, for
the
sure.
video, I saw what you were doing, but like, explain how you got there and what that was.
Yeah, I was inspired after a fashion show I did in October last year. So Dawn Green, she's a big wardrobe stylist in Detroit. I've been a part of 2 of her shows so far. And she did a themed show that was supporting breast cancer.
It was powerful.
A lot of the proceeds went to the Shades of Pink Foundation.
Okay.
And her mom, Donna Green, is a cancer survivor. And I had I was a part of the show, and I had did, we did the runway with everything else. And I remember I was walking around and I remember I saw Shades of Pink, which is the foundation they were giving the proceeds to. They had a table. I walked up and I talked to the director. I was like, I really love that what y'all doing and how you're supporting, research and helping women that are going through this process and are dealing with it and the families. And I wanna come up with something. I wanna design something specifically.
And that thing touched me.
For
I dealt with that.
Yeah.
That's touched my family personally. Like my aunt's a survivor. My grandmother passed away from that raised me.
Wow.
So like when I saw that, it did something to my spirit.
Yeah.
So it's just like, talk about that design you did in the
Yeah.
video.
Yeah,
Like,
it was, Darian shot that too. But so when I was talking to, I went to the organization, I was at their table, I was talking to them about it, and I had made this hoodie, this elite pullover hoodie with this chenille embroidered K on it. That was it did really well for me last fall, and it's become like a standard product, so people want it in every color now.
Yeah.
But I had told
Listen to
them,
the people.
yeah, you have to listen to your
listen to the
customers,
people.
and especially your women customers. Those are the ones that are buying your products. But I had, I told them, like, I want to make a limited edition product, and I want the proceeds to go to this foundation. And, she was like, that'll be amazing. She's like, here's my card, let me know. So during that month of October, which was Breast Cancer Awareness Month, I went to the drawing board and it took me like maybe 3 days. And I was talking to my manufacturer, I was like, I want to do a pink hoodie and I want it to be in this shade. And, I kind of had the concept immediately. Like I was like, I could just do it in pink. And once he sent me like the photos, I was like, this is gonna be amazing. I got it, So then I text Dawn, 3 weeks later, and it was crazy because I asked her, I'm like, hey, when's your mom's birthday? And she said her mom's birthday was maybe the 2 days after the samples came in, which was crazy. And I was like, because I told her like, well, I want to surprise your mom with something, I didn't tell her I made a hoodie or nothing else. And she's like, all right. She's like, I'll let her know, and I'll let her know that we're going somewhere. She's like, what do you, how should we, what should we dress like? And then when the actual hoodies came, it was the manufacturer. They sent me a picture. I was like, all right, I'm gonna send her the picture. I was like, all right, here's the surprise, but don't tell your mom, but just so you know what I mean. And she just got emotional, was excited, and she just like appreciated that I took, that intentional effort to do it. And I told her like, I want to honor your mom, with this design, and I want to like congratulate her and just so many survivors and so many fighters out there. And this is only just a token of what I could do, but I'm inspired by her perseverance, her strength. That was powerful. And if you ever hear Donna talk, like in that video, she was strong for so many people, and Dawn had an intuition that something was wrong when she found out she was diagnosed. And she stayed strong for her family, but she stayed happy because she said if she was sad, everybody gonna be sad,
And that touches our community so tough, dealing
does.
with the cancer. It personally touches me, and I know so many other families that we got to continue to thrive and do these things to find the cures and to support our loved ones.
We do.
Is that something that you're gonna do again this October?
Yeah, it's something that I wanted to be very intentional about. That specific initiative it wasn't even like planned. It was just, I was so inspired by her story. And when we shot that video, we didn't even plan like none of those questions. I was just like, hey, let's capture Darian meet surprising her, number one.
It was powerful.
And then let's get him capturing us just talking about her perseverance and what she went through and what words of advice would she give to survivors out there, or even just people fighting or who just got a diagnosis. How does the family stay strong in the midst of that? But that whole initiative, it inspired me to do more of what I'm calling We Care, care with a K, to just like anything that's plaguing our community, how can the brand support it? Because initially it started with the mental health initiatives that I was doing. I was trying to design, I was trying to design a T-shirt to support the awareness around suicide prevention and awareness, how people don't know their purpose. So I made like a purpose tee, which was teal and purple, which is the colors of the ribbon for suicide prevention. But then the initiatives for breast cancer happened, and I was just like,
that's just God guiding you.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
So just to make the brand more meaningful to things that are actually happening.
So you saying you were doing all this by yourself? Is your family involved in any way with your brand, or is it strictly like
it's all me?
It's just all you?
And now I'm doing better with identifying the need for help and building a team. So I do have a few job openings for like internships, and then I'm also hiring an executive assistant because it's just a lot of pressure on me, and I also got to just find ways to be more creative. I think when you're building a business, especially that's around like fashion, it's art, and when you got to juggle the business side of it and the art, you know what I mean? It could be detrimental because the art starts to be diminished because you're so focused on the business side of it, or you're too focused on the art that you don't build a business around it. That I know I have to delegate. So I'm building a team that'll give me those abilities.
That's excellent. I'm glad that you identifying those things early on in your business. So like, what in the next year, in the next 5 years, what is the goals and the outlook for your brand?
Yeah, so the next year, scalability is really a big thing.
Scale up.
Yeah, because I've done a lot. I think the gift and the curse of working in marketing is that I spent so much money, probably too much money on promoting it, awareness, all these other things. But now I want to invest in the product, to make quality product that people can aspire to buy, or people that they see it as something different. And that's done well, but I will say that, the opportunities that I've gotten, the pop-up shops, I have a placement in Detroit as a New Black, so I'm getting to reach different demographics. I'm thinking of like, how can I scale it more where I'm going and I'm doing pop-ups in other cities. I'm getting placements in other stores across the country, and then eventually having my own storefront, And so that's the goal within a year, to have that kind of structured out, and kind of have that, identified as the strategy, and really building a strong sales strategy is what I really call it. And then in 5 years, it's really just being known as one of Detroit's premier lifestyle clothing brands.
And when I say Detroit has really, they moving in the fashion industry.
Absolutely.
Like, Detroit is definitely about to become known for
it
fashion,
is.
which it was in the past.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
but it's coming back strong, like
absolutely.
Really strong. In the fashion industry, really got to pay attention to what Detroit's doing in every sector of fashion.
Yeah, and especially when it comes to manufacturing and stuff here. You know what I mean? I've been a part of a few initiatives now. Isaac is going to be a new sewing and innovation center that's going to be right in downtown Detroit, right on top of Carhartt. But I got the opportunity to help them with the marketing for it, but I'm sitting on a board now where we're trying to identify how do we bring the fashion community in Michigan overall together, but how do we make Detroit and Michigan overall a focal point, and when it comes to the industry. So I'm a part of like making this change, and I'm sitting in these rooms,
Yeah, I just want to make sure that while we are sitting in these rooms and things of that nature, that we don't get left out the conversation or at the forefront.
For sure.
Because I'm seeing that, and I just want to make sure that we step up and combat that and show that we have the talent and, we have some of the resources that we can do these things as well.
And we're bringing other, like when we get a seat at the table, we bring everybody else behind us at the table too. I think that's what I've learned in the ad industry too.
Yeah.
It is not the most diverse industry.
Yeah.
And I've seen it every day where you have a great pool of talent, but they don't have any awareness about these roles.
Yeah.
But then
I'm seeing it early in Detroit. Cause for me, traveling all over the world and working in all these different states and countries, I'm seeing it in Detroit already where, I'm just not gonna let them pimp our talent.
No,
and I'm definitely gonna be one of the ones that step up and say something about it because I already see it happening.
It is.
So
it is. For sure.
We definitely got to be at the forefront because we're the ones that's really pushing the culture here.
Yeah.
And they really gotta. We got to get the opportunities as well.
Absolutely, and I mean that's why I prided myself at working with some of Detroit's best Black talent.
Yeah,
because it's not just because they Black; it's just like they talented and they're untapped, and people aren't using them. And I want them to be a part of everything.
But also, our people have to support what we doing and connect to these brands.
Absolutely.
So it's up to the people to connect to these brands.
Sure.
But with all that being said, and with all your expertise, because you're a guy that I know that a lot of young people are watching, is it some words of advice or inspiration you want to leave for young people?
To the young people, I say, I always say this, that you are the author of your destiny. And very early on, we all have skills and talents and gifts that we're blessed with. And I think the world, it clouds that a lot, especially when we get into these school systems that are telling us we need to do this, or we need to major in this, or we need to do something that's gonna help us get a job. I think the traditional sense of going to school is like, you gotta get a job to provide, and then you die. Like, no, like we got talents that we can monetize. And I tell people that, think of something that, if it's something that you love doing, you should find a way to monetize that.
Yeah. Figure out how to live off of your talent.
You have to, and you'll never feel like you're working, you know? And I think that what we've seen now is naturally a lot of younger talent now that I talk to, they're natural entrepreneurs now.
Oh yeah.
And I talk to kids all the time at Cass Tech and all these schools, and particularly when I talk about my marketing background, I talk about how I got into fashion and my entrepreneurial endeavors. The more questions I get are about, how did you get started in entrepreneur? How did you open your brand? How do you source and manufacture?
They want to know.
They want to know, how do I become my own boss early on? So I tell the young people, learn from the other leaders. You have to follow to lead. There's nothing wrong with taking that corporate job. That doesn't mean you have to stay there. There's nothing wrong with going to college. I know a lot of people are like anti-college for a lot of different reasons. But I would say I've learned some of my most valuable lessons going to college and working in a corporate structure. I was full-time entrepreneuring for a couple months in between jobs, and I got to see, like, wow, I still need that discipline. I need time management.
And then all of this, all of it is you're building life skills. You are. And then you're opening up other opportunities and options. So, look at it all and see what best fits and works, and try it. I'm all about try it, see what happens, give it some time.
For sure.
Well, thank you for your time with us today.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you, sir.
For sure. Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
All right, have a good one.